When did you first encounter Korean culture?
Probably like my freshman year of high school, so like 2014, 2015.
How did you encounter it?
I watched a K-drama called Descendants of the Sun, which is a really good one.
Yeah.
And then I got into BTS like 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
So, been a while.
When you say you got into BTS, what do you mean?
Like I started seeing some of their music videos, their dance practices, got into their music.
Yeah, so I'm kind of just into BTS. Like I don't watch K-dramas. I don't know much about other K-pop groups other than BTS. I think I found them in 2019. Someone posted a video of them on Twitter, and I was like, oh, like they can dance, and like I find dancing like very like fascinating. And so I saw them like putting on an entire performance of like dancing, singing, and I was like, oh, like I wanted to watch more of them. And basically, I just kind of fell down a rabbit hole. They were just the first ones that I like personally saw, and I was like, oh, I want to learn more about like them specifically. And so I kind of put like everything that I was searching, it was for them specifically. And so like in recommended, it was just them that came up and not like other groups. And I really had like no interest in getting into other groups just because I was so down a rabbit hole with them. I was like these are
when you say down a rabbit hole, like, so are you part of the BTS army?
Yeah, it's literally just a fan name. It's like Beehive or Directioners, Bieber, like Believers or whatever. That's just the name of the fan group. But there's so many BTS fans that it's like literally an army, sort of.
If you want to, like through social media, you can meet like a lot of other like army, I guess. But to be an army, you don't have to do anything else other than call yourself an army.
To what degree is it about the music? And what degree is it about the performance?
So with them, like specifically, first of all, they're very like diverse, like discography. Like they started out as kind of like a hip hop like rap group, and then slowly transitioned and made different kinds of music. So like any kind of mood you want for your music, they have. And then performance wise, like they just know how to put on a show. Like that's basically the best way I can put it. Like they can dance, they can sing, the backup. It's a full show. It's a spectacle. Like even people who don't know them or don't like follow them or aren't into them like that, like if you watch them perform, you'll be like, oh wow, like they can perform.
K-pop is expressing something about Korean culture for sure. But what is that? What is it that you connect with that it's expressing?
I don't know. I think I really just appreciate how creative it is and how committed it is to being the very best it can be. You know, the people who, as you said, like they go through this huge process of like when they're like 8. And they go all the way up until they're 15, and if they make it, then they get put into a band. And they work so hard.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, you can see that in their performances, and it's really commendable. It's part of what makes K-pop so interesting to watch, is how dedicated and talented and creative and all that they are.
How is it for you as two white women who are really engaging in this culture or in this entertainment from this culture on the other side of the world? Like what jumps out for you, or what?
Being a white woman who likes K-pop, or?
Yeah. And that's not in any way disparaging or saying you shouldn't do that. It's like, because for me as a sociologist,
right.
I'm just always fascinated by people who step outside of their culture and really do a deep dive into another culture to say, wow, I really want to understand this, or I really want to be part of it. So how is that for you?
Well, I think for me, I grew up in a family that like we watched Studio Ghibli, which is like Japanese Disney, but so much better. Like I grew up on that, so I've always been sort of immersed in like watching and engaging in other things besides just like American stuff. So I guess I don't really think about it. It's like I've never thought of it as like weird or abnormal for me to engage in.
Yeah, and I don't think it's weird or abnormal. I just think it's just notable.
While there are a lot of similarities between like BTS for me in particular, and then like I guess Western music or musicians, there's still like a lot of differences. Again, like the biggest thing is I don't see a lot of Western performers, I don't know if that's the correct term, or American in my case, like performing the way that they do. Plus Korean culture, like from finding them, it's really interesting to like learn about the Korean language and itself. Like For me personally, when they put out a new song, if it's in Korean, I'll like go and look at like the lyrics so that way I know what they're saying, because like they write their own songs and I want to know like what they're saying, even though like the translations may not be perfect. I still want to know what they're talking about. So I think that's one way to like really immerse, is while like I don't know specifically what they're saying, I can very easily find out and like pick up on that. So
for one thing, I don't know if anyone's seen Shang-Chi, the new Marvel movie, but you know that scene where early on, like, these two characters are fighting, and there's sort of these shots that are like really up close on the face of these two characters, and you're kind of like, as an American watching, you're like, it's kind of weird. It's a little comical. Like, people are laughing in the audience. That's like, shots like that are a lot more typical in K-dramas. Like, they'll do certain scenes, like they'll play it from different angles, and it's a little funny, and I think it's sort of meant to be like kind of dramatic. So that's different in and of itself, just cinematography wise. Western societies have more like sex in them. Eastern ones really don't. So K-dramas really don't have that aspect to them, which I mean, it's kind of refreshing. It's a lot more sweet and nice.
Wait, when did you first get into K-pop?
When I was a sophomore in high school, we had a Chinese international student transfer to our school, and she became friends with me, and we were studying for finals, and she was like, listen to this. So I listened to it. I was like, okay, that's fine. But then she was like, no, keep listening to it. And then I found myself just like looking it up on my own, and I was like, wow, this is really good.
And what did you see? What did you hear?
It was just catchy. At first, it was just catchy. And I remember specifically, after I listened to my first music video, she was like, who's your favorite member? I just picked someone random. Like, I had no idea who these people were. And she said, oh, yeah, he's the tallest. And I was like, that's so weird. But then later I learned that each member is known for their own thing. And so then when I would do it to people, they'd tell me who their favorite was, and I'd be like, yeah, he's the youngest, as if it matters. But it was fun.
And what was this BTS, or was it somebody else?
No, the first group was someone else. But then I later got into BTS.
When I was 11 in 2011. So basically, my cousin sent us this music video of a song called Lollipop. It was by Big Bang and 21. Okay. And when I saw the way they were dressing, when I saw the way they were singing and performing, I was really shocked. Like, it was completely different from the kind of music videos I would see. So I just loved it. I remember this girl from the 21 group. She had braided hair and it was standing like this the whole time while she was dancing. And I was really shocked. Like, how is it like standing still?
Up,
yeah. So that's how I got into it. Yeah.
For me, I started watching K-pop basically from my older siblings. It was like in 2011 or 9, I guess. I liked the dancing and the performance and how colorful was like all their videos. And yeah, I think it was like really joyful for me as a kid.
Let me ask the two of you, in Saudi Arabia, how do other Saudis see it? Or is that an issue? Is it a problem? Is it this? Is that? Like, what is that?
Yeah, so for me, I guess it depends. So if it was between like guys, they will like shame you. And other than that, no one cares.
Wait, guys, because you were watching boy bands and girl bands? Both?
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
I agree with what he said. But in general, I think that everyone is into K-pop. Like, they've been into K-pop since 2011 or 2009, and until now, it's still a big thing. Yeah, I think most people support it.
What about for the three of you? Like, to what degree is it the music or the performance?
I would say it's the music for me. Yeah, I like the performance, but I mostly enjoy the music. Yeah.
And Abdul Rahman, how about you?
Yeah, same as Zainab. I don't really care about the performance itself. Maybe it was like I cared like when I was younger, but now I just like listen to the music. So basically, I feel like Saudi singers or like artists in general, they specifically like focus on their vocals and the lyrics, not about like the performance or the dancing. So yeah, I feel like the lyrics itself, it's like from poems and stuff.
Yeah.
For like K-pop, I don't really like translate or like read the subtitles a lot, so I don't really know what does it mean or whatever.
So you're not paying attention
Yeah,
to
I just
that.
like the music, but not the lyric.
Like the style is different. I
Yeah.
would say that in our culture, the makeup is too much compared to Korean makeup.
It's too much?
Yeah, like not in a bad way. Like I would say that we would have full makeup, actual full makeup. But I would say that Korean makeup, despite the fact it is full makeup, it looks really simple. Yeah, it's all about enhancing natural beauty. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm more drawn to it, but there's definitely a difference. I feel like I found K-pop in high school, and so like you're young, you're like 15. So the choices you have coming out of Latin America, a lot of the time, like the most famous artists are really explicit. You know, like reggaeton is all about like partying and all this stuff.
Partying and having sex.
Yes. And in K-pop, you look over and like, you're lucky if they kiss in the 8th episode of a K-drama kind of deal.
Yeah.
And so it's just more like getting into it was just easier as a kid.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
obviously you grow with it, so it's like a different kind of bond. So it's not that I don't like stuff coming out of Latin America, but it's just a different connection.
Yeah, I think that's another reason why more Saudis are into Korean or Korean culture. Is because we have some similarities. Yeah,
Yeah.
like very tiny similarities, but it's good enough to make you interested in the culture.